What if a vegetable most Americans already buy without thinking twice contains a natural compound that laboratory studies show can help push certain damaged cells towards self-destruction while also calming the chronic low-grade inflammation that quietly raises the risk of many age-related problems? Researchers have watched this compound encourage abnormal cells to shut down through a process the body already knows how to use, and early human work has measured shifts in inflammation markers and cellular activity that line up with those findings. The food is ordinary. The science behind it is anything but ordinary. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to use it in a way that supports your body's own defenses, and you will see why so many people over 50 are quietly making this one change. Hello everyone, and welcome to Health Journey. If you're over 50, the quiet battle between inflammation and healthy cells becomes more important every year. Chronic inflammation is not the swelling you feel after a twisted ankle. It is a low-level fire that can stay lit for years. That fire sends chemical signals that make it easier for damaged cells to survive and harder for the body to clean them up. Cancer cells are simply damaged cells that have learned to ignore the normal stop signals. Inflammation helps them stay alive and grow. The good news is that certain everyday foods contain compounds that appear to interrupt some of those signals and support the cleanup process the body is already designed to perform. One of the best studied examples sits in the produce section of almost every American grocery store: broccoli, and especially its young form, broccoli sprouts. The standout compound is called sulforaphane. When you chew or chop the vegetable, an enzyme converts a precursor into this sulfur-rich molecule. In cell studies, sulforaphane has been shown to activate protective enzymes, slow the multiplication of certain cancer cell lines, and encourage some of those cells to enter programmed cell death, the natural process the body uses to remove damaged cells. It also quiets a major inflammation switch known as NF-kappa B. Trusted sources, including the National Institutes of Health, and reviews published by researchers linked to institutions such as Johns Hopkins, have examined these mechanisms for years. Population studies and smaller clinical trials have linked higher intake of cruciferous vegetables with lower risks of certain cancers and better markers of inflammation. None of this means broccoli is a treatment or a cure. It means the food can be a useful part of a larger pattern that supports the systems already working inside you. Imagine you are a 68-year-old man living outside Dallas. Every morning your ankles look a little puffy and your joints feel stiff. You tell yourself it is just aging. One day your daughter brings over a bag of broccoli sprouts and shows you a simple way to add them to your eggs. Within a few weeks, the morning stiffness eases a bit and your energy feels steadier. You have not cured anything. You have simply given your body a compound that research shows can help lower certain inflammatory signals and support cellular cleanup. That is the kind of quiet, practical difference we are talking about. But here is what most people do not realize. The way you prepare broccoli makes a real difference in how much sulforaphane your body actually receives. Boiling the florets for a long time or over-steaming them can destroy the enzyme needed to form the active compound. A better approach is to chop the broccoli and let it sit for about 40 minutes before light cooking, or to eat some of it raw. Adding a small pinch of mustard seed powder or a bit of radish after cooking can restore the enzyme. Broccoli sprouts contain much higher levels of the precursor than mature broccoli, so a small handful delivers a stronger amount. Frozen broccoli that was blanched still retains benefit if you avoid cooking it into mush. These small steps turn an ordinary vegetable into a more effective source of the compound researchers continue to study. Now let's talk about something even more important. Inflammation does not only matter for cancer risk. The same quiet fire contributes to heart strain, slower recovery after activity, brain fog, and that general feeling of getting older faster than you expected. Large observational studies and work, summarized by groups such as the American Heart Association and Harvard Health, link diets rich in cruciferous vegetables with better overall inflammatory profiles. When you eat broccoli, prepared the smart way a few times a week, you are supporting more than one system at once. Picture a retired teacher in Ohio who started adding a generous serving of lightly steamed broccoli or a handful of sprouts to her lunch most days. She paired it with olive oil and a little lemon. Over months, she noticed her afternoon energy dips became less frequent, and her doctor commented that certain blood markers related to inflammation had improved. She was not following a strict protocol. She was simply making one consistent choice that aligned with the research. Stay with me because the practical side is where real change happens. Many viewers over 50 tell us the hardest part is consistency, not knowledge. Make the change easy. Keep a bag of frozen broccoli in the freezer so it is always available. Keep a small container of sprouts in the refrigerator. When you cook dinner, prepare an extra portion so tomorrow's lunch is already handled. Pair the vegetable with foods you already enjoy: eggs, chicken, beans, or a simple grain bowl. The goal is not perfection. The goal is a pattern you can keep for years. This next point surprises many people. Genetics influence how efficiently some individuals convert the precursor into sulforaphane. Digestive health and certain medications can also change absorption. That is why no single food works the same way for everyone. If you are managing an active cancer diagnosis, taking prescription drugs, or have a history of thyroid concerns, talk with your doctor before making large changes or adding concentrated extracts. Food is powerful support. It is not a substitute for medical care. Emotional storytelling helps us remember why these choices matter. Think of the grandmother in Florida who watched her husband struggle with treatment side effects. She began preparing broccoli the way the research suggested and added it to almost every evening meal. She later said the simple act gave her a sense of agency during a time when so much felt out of control. She was not claiming a miracle. She was using one of the few tools completely under her control every single day. That sense of quiet control is valuable at any age. Research continues. Larger trials are still needed to clarify exact amounts, the best forms, and which groups benefit most. Yet the existing evidence from laboratory work, animal studies, and early human trials is already strong enough to make broccoli and its sprouts a smart, low-cost addition to almost any plate after 50. Trusted organizations such as the National Cancer Institute and reviews in the scientific literature continue to explore sulforaphane for its ability to support detoxification pathways, influence cell cycle control, and modulate inflammation. The pattern is consistent. Diets rich in these vegetables are linked with better outcomes across multiple measures of health. As you move through the rest of your week, notice how often you pass the produce section without a second thought. Next time, look at the broccoli with fresh eyes. Inside those florets is a compound that scientists have watched encourage damaged cells towards self-destruction in controlled settings and quiet inflammatory signals that rise with age. Prepare it the smart way. Eat it regularly. Combine it with the other habits that keep the body resilient. Now let's go deeper into how this fits into a typical American day. Suppose you are a 72-year-old woman in Arizona who has been dealing with morning joint stiffness and occasional brain fog. You already walk after breakfast because your doctor recommended it for heart health. Adding a handful of broccoli sprouts to that same breakfast or a side of lightly prepared broccoli at dinner does not require a new routine. It simply layers onto what you already do. Over time, many people notice the stiffness softens and the fog lifts a little. The combination of movement and the food appears to work better together than either one alone. Here is another real-life situation. A 65-year-old man in Michigan works part-time at a hardware store and spends a lot of time on his feet. By evening, his lower back and knees ache. He started keeping a container of chopped broccoli in the refrigerator that he had let rest after cutting. At dinner, he quickly steamed it and added a drizzle of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon. Within a few weeks, he reported that the evening ache felt less intense. Again, this is not a cure for arthritis or any other condition. It is one more tool that supports the body's own anti-inflammatory systems, while he continues the walking and strength work his physical therapist recommended. What happens next may surprise you. Many people assume they need expensive supplements to get meaningful amounts of sulforaphane. In reality, the food itself, prepared correctly, delivers the compound in a form the body recognizes. Concentrated extracts exist and have been used in some clinical trials, but they are not necessary for most people who simply want to support long-term health. Starting with the whole food keeps things simple, affordable, and safe for the majority of older adults. Let's talk about common mistakes that reduce the benefit. Overcooking is the biggest one. When broccoli turns soft and olive green, much of the enzyme has already been lost. Another mistake is eating it only once in a while and expecting big changes. The research points toward regular intake over months and years. A third mistake is ignoring the rest of the plate. Pairing broccoli with highly processed foods, high in sugar and refined oils, can blunt some of the anti-inflammatory advantage. Keep the meal simple: protein, healthy fat, and plenty of vegetables. If you live alone or find cooking tiring, there are still easy options. Buy pre-cut broccoli florets and let them sit on the counter for 40 minutes before a quick microwave steam with a little water. Keep frozen broccoli on hand. Add mustard powder from the spice rack after cooking. These tiny adjustments take almost no extra time, yet protect more of the active compound. Stay with me a little longer because the last practical piece is the one many people ignore the most. Consistency beats intensity. Eating a large amount of broccoli one day and then none for 2 weeks does less good than modest servings several times a week. Think of it the same way you think about walking. One long walk once a month is less helpful than shorter walks most days. The same principle applies here. Consider the caregiver in Pennsylvania who looks after her husband after his heart procedure. She has limited energy and little time. She started adding a small serving of broccoli or sprouts to the evening meal they already shared. She did not change everything at once. She simply made one reliable addition. Months later, she noticed both of them seemed to recover from small setbacks a little faster. That is the quiet power of steady habits. Now let's address a question many viewers ask. Can you get the same benefit from other cruciferous vegetables? Yes, to varying degrees. Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, and kale all contain related compounds. Broccoli, and especially broccoli sprouts, tend to be the richest sources of the specific precursor that becomes sulforaphane. Rotating among these vegetables keeps meals interesting and still supports the same pathways. Another question is whether cooking methods other than steaming work. Light stir-frying in a little olive oil or roasting at moderate temperature for a short time can still preserve useful amounts if the vegetable was chopped and rested first. The key is avoiding prolonged high heat in water. As the years go by, the body becomes a little less efficient at some of its repair work. That is normal. What is not inevitable is letting chronic inflammation run unchecked. Foods like broccoli give the body a gentle assist. When you combine that assist with daily movement, adequate protein, good sleep, and regular checkups, you create a foundation that helps you stay stronger longer. Imagine looking back a year from now. You have made broccoli or sprouts a regular part of your week. Your joints feel a bit freer. Your energy is more even. Your doctor is pleased with the trends in your blood work. None of that happened because of a miracle. It happened because you consistently gave your body tools it knows how to use. Here's a short summary of what we covered. Chronic, low-grade inflammation creates an environment that can favor the survival of damaged cells. Sulforaphane from broccoli and broccoli sprouts has been shown in laboratory studies to support the body's natural process of removing abnormal cells and to help lower certain inflammatory pathways. Early human research has measured encouraging shifts in biomarkers. The way you prepare the vegetable matters a great deal. Simple daily habits around food, movement, and rest amplify the benefit. No single food is a cure or a replacement for medical care. Consistent, realistic choices add up over time. Key takeaways you can use today. Chop broccoli and let it rest before light cooking, or eat some raw. Consider adding sprouts a few times a week. Pair the vegetable with healthy fats. Keep the rest of your plate colorful and minimally processed. And speak with your doctor about any major dietary changes if you have an existing diagnosis. Make the habit easy so you can keep it for years. Taking care of your health after 50 is not about chasing miracles. It is about giving your body the steady support it was designed to use. You have more influence than you may realize. Start with one serving prepared the smart way this week. Notice how you feel. Keep going. The small decisions you make in the kitchen today shape how strong and independent you feel in the years ahead. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Thank you for watching Health Journey.